This is the Pedego City Commuter, and it's one of my favorite electric bikes. As you can see, it's wonderful to look at, but it actually accomplishes a lot at a pretty reasonable price and is very durable. So this retails for about $23.95. This is the step-through model. They also have sort of a men's style where there's a more of a straight bar. I chose this one because I'm 5'9", and it just makes it easier to get on and off. I've also modified a couple other things. You can see I have a seat post shock there. That makes riding a little smoother. You'll notice a lot of electric bikes actually have a front shock. These don't. None of Pedego's bikes do, but they do have these Fat Frank Schwab tires that absorb a lot of impact, and because of that, you really don't get too much rattling or jolting going on. Also, the seating position, you can see these handlebars are higher than the seat, and they sort of extend back, they swoop back, and that positions the rider up higher. Your face is, and you're not really hunched over on those handlebars like you would be on sort of a road bike. So continuing the tour here, we've got the Avid disc brakes, and these are extra large disc brakes to help you really stop going down a hill. And that's important because this bike is about 50 pounds. I actually measured it just before I came out here, and that's sort of, it's a decent electric bike weight, but it's a little bit heavier, and Pedigo offers 48 volt batteries. This is a 36, but if you have a 48 volt battery, that weighs a little bit more. If you're a larger rider, you're adding weight to the system, and then you've got a 50-pound bike, it's important to have brakes that will stop you. One thing that I really appreciate about these brakes is you can actually adjust them on the fly, like by doing that, you hear that little click, and that will tighten or loosen the brake line so you can get your desired squeeze, which is really nice. Also, this is a tool-less neck adjustment here. You just push down on this, pop it up, and you can actually adjust this up or down, and you can sort of angle the handlebars all on the fly. Very, very cool, especially if you want to change your riding position while you're on a ride. Here we are at the front of the bike. We've got a nice little LED light and reflector built in, and you can just adjust that by hand up or down. On the rear of the bike, you've got a reflector that also lights up at night, so you can press that button there, and it actually turns on the lights. I'll do it for the front too. Turns on the lights without even turning on the bike. So the bike is in sort of off mode right now. It's all powered by this battery pack right here that I think is really, really nice looking, and it's actually pretty well protected. It's inside of a plastic case there, so this whole battery module slides out like that if you wanted to take it in or something like that. I tend to leave it on my bike, and I just leave it locked so no one can really mess around with it or anything. And I actually put panniers on the back of my bike. The ones that I really like are by Basil, and I did a review on those, but they just, the bike, it already looks kind of like a nice little cruiser bike, like something fun. When you put panniers on the back, you can't even tell it's electric, which is just super cool. And again, some of the other features I really enjoy are these fenders, built right on. They match the bike. They don't rattle or anything. They're aluminum, just really high quality. Then we've got the Shimano derailleur in the back, a bunch of gears to use, only one ring in the front, but that keeps the chain from slipping or falling off. It's a really good setup that works very well, even if you're just pedaling this thing. It's smooth and pretty efficient, but the real fun is when you start to get into electric mode. So before I turn the bike on and get there, a couple other things. The seat has little sort of shocks built right into it, and actually I swapped the seat out. The one that comes stock with it is a little narrower, maybe a little easier for pedaling. You can open it up, like there's a storage compartment inside, so you can store your keys or your phone or something, and that's kind of a neat feature. But I'm a fan of the classic seats that Pedigo has, so I've kind of kept that, and it ties in really nicely with the grips up there. Everything's this nice leather and everything. So anyways, back to the Schwab balloon Fat Frank tires. These are actually Kevlar lined. can see it there, which is awesome because if you go over something that's sharp like glass or whatever, it's going to be less likely to puncture the tire, and they come pre-slimed. So if you do get some sort of a puncture, they sort of slow the leakage and can possibly even stop it if you just put some more air in it. Back to a discussion around electric. Everything in this bike is really well integrated. Maybe starting up here, all the brake cables and everything, along with the electronic shutoff that the brake also triggers. So here, let me back up. When you pull the brakes, it activates the disc brake, but then it also tells the motor to shut off, and that's great because if you're going fast and something happens in front of you, you need to stop, then the motor kills the motor, which is great. And they kind of tie all the cables together right here. And at first I was like, yeah, that's kind of thick, and it's just sort of windy. Aesthetically, it's like, could that be tucked away more or whatnot? But I like what they've done here because it's all modular. So if something happens to your LCD display or if something happens to one of these cables, you can take it back to the dealer wherever you got it, and they can swap that part out. And a good example of that is right back here. So you can see the connector. You can just swap out the hub motor, for example, if you needed to. And the hub motor is a 500 watt sealed geared hub motor, and so it's a little bit noisier than a gearless hub motor, but it's a lot more powerful. It's got a lot more torque, and this is actually what a lot of electric bikes are going towards these days. So Pedigo's their cruiser bikes, they all had gearless hub motors, and the City Commuter is the first one to really go with these geared motor, and I think they chose very well. It works great, and it still freewheels nicely, and as you'll see when I do the ride later, it's still pretty quiet. Down here, if you've ever seen this before, that's the pedal sensor, and so when you're pedaling along, it tells the motor to kick in for pedal assist mode, because this bike has two ways to support you. One is you just pedal along and it senses that motion like we just talked about, and then it kicks in with the motor. The other is twist throttle right up here. So it's totally up to you, which I love, because sometimes I actually do prefer pedal assist, and I like to ride with no hands or something, or just kind of give my wrist a break. Other times I want to give my legs a break, and then I use the twist throttle, and I can just sit back and relax, and it kind of turns into something more like a moped. And these are set up stock to have speed control that limits your top speed to 20 miles per hour, which is nice. But if you live on a farm or you're trying to use this more like a moped, you can actually change that. You can raise the top speed by holding the up and down arrows here for a second. Great. And then see, that's 20, and I can go up 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. You can get it all the way up to 25. I leave mine at 20 because that's pretty fast as is. So there we go. I set it at that. Right now, the assist mode is at 4. You can see it there. 3, 2, and it goes all the way up to 5, right? So 5 is, as soon as I start pedaling on this, the motor's going to kick in and it's going to be assisting me. In order to get into throttle mode, you just take this down to 0, and now it's ready. It's ready for you. I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like. So here we go. I'm sitting on the bike. There's the throttle. Twist it. Whoop. And it's taking us. There. It's got great acceleration. You can hear those brakes. And it sort of tells you everything that's happening as real time with this computer. So that's one of the things I love about it. It's going to tell you how fast you're going, how many miles you've ridden. It's got a clock in here. It's got basically everything. So here, I'm going to do that again and show you what shows up on the display. .6, 10 point. Okay, so you can see it kind of catching up there. I'm coasting at about 10.8 miles per hour. Let's go a little faster. There we go. 12, 15, 17, 19, 20 miles per hour. So you can see this thing really gets going in a hurry. Motor's not helping me throttle mode, but I'm going to change that and show you what it's like to ride with the motor assisting you. I'm turning it to 1. Hear that whine? So, you know, gets me up to 7, 8 miles per hour. If I click it up to 2, immediately it boosts. Now I'm up to 9, 10, 3, 12, 13, 4, 14, 15, 5, 17. I'm not even keeping up anymore right now. My feet are just sort of as long as you keep pedaling forward, the bike senses that movement. Even if you're not pushing down very hard, the bike senses that movement in your pedals. And it kicks in the throttle. There it goes again. So again, that's really fun for me if you want to go no hands, if you just want to like keep your head up and not be focusing on using the shifter. It's a great option, and it's one that not all bikes have. A lot of bikes have pedal assist only. This bike has pedal assist and throttle mode, which is just super cool. There we go. Pull over. The other nice thing is right from this control module, you can press the on-off switch again, and it actually turns the light on right from here. And this is backlit. You can't really see it because it's like light out right now. I wanted to show you the backlight screen here and the light. So I pulled just under an awning. It's a little bit darker here. So here we go. Press the on button. See it light up? There's the light. It's still the middle of the day, so it's fairly bright out right now, and I've got to say this light performs pretty well. Shines on the road, lights things up, and you can actually adjust how bright this backlighting is. Works very well. Something that you can just control the whole bike from right here. And again, if something bad happens to this, you can replace that without having to replace the whole bike. Another thing I wanted to mention here is this nice bell. There we go. It's kind of fun. Lets people know you're coming. Take a step off this guy here. So that's really it. That is the Pedego City Commuter. I have ridden this bike to work and back over 300 miles, and it really holds up well. It continues to look great. It handles the bumps. It's just high quality all around. You can really tell too, like here's this washer that actually has like a torque angle coming off of it, and there's like a rubber cap here so that you're not gonna scrape anyone or anything if you're walking by. Same thing on the front. Even though there's no motor or anything on the front, they've built in this sort of locker into the washer. It's just really, really high quality. And again, for just under $2,400, this you're getting a lot. You're getting a lot for your money. And Pedigo's a good company. I've met the founder before. I've seen them at Interbike. They've been around for a while. They support their outlets very well. They support their products very well. If something goes wrong with the bike, they'll help you out. So it's a good choice. If you're light like me, it's definitely gonna take you, and the 36 volt battery will be enough. But if you weigh over 180 pounds, you're a little heavier, and you're going up a lot of hills, you might want to think about the 48 volt battery, which adds about $700 extra. Or there's the other option, which is the 36 volt 15 amp hour. This is a 10 amp hour. Amp hours basically means it's like how much juice the battery has in it. It's like how far you can go. So the 48 volt, 36 volt, they're both 10 amp hour, but then there's the special 36 volt 15 amp hour battery, and it's just gonna take you further. Recharge time on this thing is about 4 hours, and distance, I feel like I've been able to get close to 30 miles if I, depending on the hills and the wind and everything. It's solid. One other consideration you might want to make when you're looking at this bike and trying to choose between the step-through version or the standard is if you're going to try to put this on a bike rack on the back of your car. The step-through version is a little bit harder. There's not much to mount to, so the standard one that could work a little bit better if you have a bike rack that has those arms. Any of these bikes will work pretty well though with buses or with traditional bike racks, because even though these tires are pretty wide, they're not so wide that it won't fit. So that's kind of nice. Let's see, am I missing anything here? No, I left the lights on. I'm gonna turn it off right up here, and they're off. Perfect. Got the rack. Oh, this rack is pretty cool too. It's got this spring-loaded clamp here, so you can just put newspapers or whatever you've got. And then the battery's got a voltage meter, so you can see it's full right now, which is great. And actually, I've really been happy that the bike has a built-in chain guard, because I'll ride with jeans on sometimes, and that keeps my jeans from getting oily or greasy on the chain, which is really nice. Oh, let the kickstand down. It just rides smooth. This little mud flap at the bottom. Well, I've enjoyed demoing the Pedego City Commuter for you. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments, or check out ElectricBikeReview.com for the full written review on this bike. And be sure to check back for more updates and other reviews. Thanks.